you trying to figure out the cost of living in Virginia Beach, Virginia? Well, I'm talking about that today, and we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone, and I'm a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification next to it. You'll be notified every time I do a video about Hampton Roads, about real estate. And today we're talking about something very interesting, which is the cost of living in Virginia Beach. A lot of people contact me from different states, different cities, and they're asking me a lot about the prices of things in the area. Buying real estate, for instance, like groceries, private schools, gas often, childcare, state taxes, all kinds of stuff. And so what I thought I'd do is I'd make a video all about that and give you an idea from wherever you're coming from as to how much you might need to make in order to get the similar lifestyle that you have where you are. And I'll also drop some links for other cost of living websites that can at least give you an idea. If you go online, you'll see some cost of living websites, and you can plug in, where you live and where you're moving to. Like here would be Virginia Beach, and they'll give you like an equivalent. Like for instance, if you live in San Diego, well, how much do you make there? What's the equivalent here to that salary in San Diego or wherever you live? And there are other sites that will give you a basis, like a national average. How expensive is something based on a national average? And those are helpful, but they don't really get into the specifics often, and they're often misleading. And they use a basis line of 100 points, 100-point system. So if it's higher than 100 points, then it's more expensive. And if it's lower than 100 points, it's less expensive. Well, that's helpful in some capacity, but what it doesn't do is it doesn't give you any context to your own city. So for the things I can't get too specific about because everybody's different, I'll try and use the national average, and at the same time I'll do as best as I can to give you some specific prices of things that are local, so you can then compare those prices to wherever you live. These are general guidelines and numbers to work off of, but everybody's situation is different. So please let me know if you have any questions about moving here or specific costs. So we'll start first with real estate. Buying and renting. So for buying, the median purchase price in Virginia Beach is about $265,000. Or if you're talking payment wise, that's going to be around $1,600 or $1,700 a month, give or take, depending on your loan situation. And another thing I want to mention that will influence your mortgage payment is also flood insurance. Most of the city does not require flood insurance. However, there are some places, especially near the water, where you might pay several $100s a year, up to $1,000, $2,000, or even more, $3,000 a year in some locales. But a lot of places that do require flood insurance are in that $600 to $700 a year, and maybe $1,000 to $1,200 a year. So if you do find out that your house that you like needs flood insurance, just factor that into the payment, the total payment that you have for your house. And also for the style of house, it's about 3 or 4 bedrooms, about 2.5 baths. Now to rent a studio apartment, that's going to run you usually around $1,000 to $1,100 to $1,200, depending on where you live. Average is about $1,100. Now if you go up to about a 2-bedroom apartment, you're talking closer to $1,300. 3 bedrooms, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, and a 4-bedroom gets you in the 2,000s oftentimes. But if you're going for houses, you can get rental properties cheaper than that. It really all depends on where you're looking in Virginia Beach. You can expect no less than $1,400 or $1,500 a month usually, but it really goes up pretty quickly from there for a neighborhood you might be interested in, especially school districts. And school districts plays a big part in this, in location. So if you want to be in a specific area, you might have to spend more, and if you don't really care, you might be willing to go a little bit less and get the thing you're looking for. That leads me to the next part, which is school districts. Your price range will often go up or down based on your school district, and I'll say too specifically that people often want to come here because of school districts, and so there are a lot of great school districts here, public schools. But if you don't want to be in the public school system, private school is another option too. There are some private schools in the area. Cape Henry is the one that is most common in Virginia Beach, but there are others in Norfolk and Chesapeake and around Virginia Beach as well. But you're talking anywhere from $7,000 up to $25,000 for private schools, and that's for the several larger private schools that are in the area around Virginia Beach or Virginia Beach itself. And I'll drop some links below to each of the larger private schools so you can get an idea of what the tuition is for the specific schools. However, people often come to Virginia Beach for the school system, so what I'd suggest is is do some due diligence and find out if there are certain school systems that you like. You might find that the price of real estate, while it might be higher in that school district, might be a lot less than going to a private school and paying that tuition. So that's something to do some research on, because if you're paying $1,000 a month per child in private school, that $1,000 goes a long way towards increasing the quality of your house. Now that leads us to transportation. Well, how do you get around? Well, you can do public transportation like the bus system. It's about $70 a month for a pass. The problem though with the public transportation system is it's not really efficient. It doesn't cover a lot of the areas in Virginia Beach that you might need to go to. You can't really expect it to take you everywhere you need to be. You may have to walk to get to the bus stop. So while it can be helpful for some people, I strongly suggest you buy a car. You might spend $200-300 a month in gas, give or take, but it will go a long way to saving you a ton of time. And if you have to rely on being somewhere at a specific time, it will make your life a whole lot easier if you just get a car. Now that leads me to the gas prices. And you'll see I went to a gas station and to Costco to compare so you can see the prices. Now this is recorded in September of 2019. The regular gas prices for regular gas stations are around that $2.30, $2.35, $2.40 range, and the high tests are in the $3 range, give or take as well. But going to Costco or the wholesale discount places, I'm able to get gas 5 to 10% cheaper for regular gas, and I actually have a premium gas car that saves me 10, 15, 20% often going to Costco to get my gas for that car. So if you do have a premium gas car, one way to save a lot of money in Hampton Roads is to go get gas at a discount or wholesale location, or anywhere that gets you discounts. Do that because it will save you several percent, and that adds up over time. So if you're spending $300 a month in gas, that's $60 a month, and the Costco membership is $60. So you might end up paying for the membership in 1 month. Again, if you have not been to a wholesale supplier like BJ's, Costco, or Sam's Club, forgetting all the rest of the things you can save money on at Costco. Don't get me started on Costco. But on that note, food and groceries. Now you can spend a lot or little. I mean, there are places like Aldi and Lidl that are more low-cost grocery stores, and so those are things to consider if you come here. There are other grocery stores that are, higher price, like Whole Foods, and then there are the ones in the middle where you get the good quality, but also good selection and reasonable price. I like Kroger and Wegmans. Those are my two favorites, but Kroger has a good bang for the buck. Also a great organic section. And beer and other groceries are probably close to the same whatever you're paying now. So beer 6-packs between $7 to $12. If you get some of the microbrewers, they're going to be a little bit more expensive, of course. But for groceries, expect to pay close to whatever you're paying now. Now utilities are a little bit less than the national average according to some websites. So I would say that whatever you're paying now, you're going to probably be paying just about the same. And if you're living down south, you might find that your AC bills are going to be a little bit cheaper. And if you live north, you're going to probably find that your heating bills are a little bit cheaper, and vice versa. So I would suggest expecting to pay for like gas, water, electric, stormwater, trash pickup. You're going to probably spend in that $250 to $350 range. But if you have a larger house, of course, that's going to go up because your energy costs are going to increase, and your water and all that. Same goes with if it's a smaller house. So it really just depends. I don't want to give a specific number and say this is what it's going to cost you, but just go whatever you're paying now for the same kind of house. It might end up being close to the same here unless you're coming from an extreme climate. And the same goes for internet. You're talking about $65-ish a month for internet. We have two, Cox and Verizon. Those are the two primary internet providers. So if you add cable to that, you're going to probably be up in that $120 range-ish, depending on what you add in those packages. So again, it goes back to what you're used to, but it's close to the national average. Movies are about $11 a ticket. There are a couple theaters that are cheaper, like you can get some matinees for like $6, and there are some that are in that between $6 and $11. But most of them, especially in the evenings, on the weekends, you're going to be paying about $11 per movie ticket. For a nice dinner out, you're going to be probably spending about $12 to $15 a plate. You can always pay more, of course. And so for two people with drinks, you're going to be in that $40 to $50 range before tax. But if you go to some of those places I recommend, those holes in the wall, you'll be in that $20 to $30 bill for two people. And coffee. Now Starbucks, you might not know this, but Starbucks is prices are different in different cities. Here, you're gonna spend about $1.85-ish to up to close to $2.80 for either a tall up to a venti coffee in Starbucks. But if you go to another, like a local coffee shop, you might pay more, like $3 to $3.75 to $4. Now for working out, there are a lot of the gyms here that probably cost about the same as wherever you live. The YMCA's are around $60 for an adult a month, and places like Anytime Fitness, which is a 24-hour fitness place. One Life, you're gonna be spending in that anywhere from $35 to $40 up to $60, $70 a month. However, there's two places I wanna mention. Planet Fitness is the budget location. You're gonna be spending between $10 and $20 a month. However, one thing that I think is awesome that Virginia Beach has is their rec centers. Their rec centers are awesome. They have basketball courts, pool, running track, indoors. They have a great place for kids to play too, and a great gym for the price. And the price is $104 per person for the entire year, and this is in 2019. And if you do a family pack, $495 gets you 2 adults and up to 3 kids for the year, $495, and childcare for up to 3 kids as well. And I'll drop a link below for the rec center so you can check out. They have a family plan that's awesome, just under $500. It's incredible for the whole year. I mean, not a monthly, for the whole year. So that's one way to save money if you do choose to live and be a resident in Virginia Beach. That's just for residents. So if you live outside of Virginia Beach, you're gonna be paying a lot more. But for residents, that's an amazing slamming deal. You can't beat it. And they have 8 rec centers sprinkled around the city. So if you go and live in Virginia Beach, there's a good chance you're gonna be living reasonably close to one of these rec centers. Another thing I wanna mention is state taxes and sales tax. Sales tax here is 6%, state income tax. You're paying as low as 2% and as high as up close to 6%. So it really depends on your tax bracket. Places like Texas and Florida don't have that state income tax, but expect that when it comes time to pay your income taxes. And childcare as well, that's gonna be close to the national average. Unless you're coming from a city that has a high standard of living, where if you do come here, you might end up paying a little bit less. And another benefit that people have when they move here is the lower real estate taxes. I've talked to people from New York that are coming here. One of the big reasons is because the taxes are so much cheaper. Right now, for real estate, you're paying 99 cents for every $100 of assessed value. So for instance, if you're buying a house that's assessed at $265,000, you're gonna be paying about $2,650 a year in real estate taxes. There are some places that are double and triple that. So you're gonna save a lot of money coming here if you do have a high real estate tax state. So while it might seem like the value of the real estate is higher, you might be paying less in real estate taxes, so it might balance out some. And healthcare is another one that you'll find you might be paying a little bit more in relation to the national average as well. If you look at the bestplaces.net 100-point national average scale, healthcare is 17 points over the national average in Virginia Beach. And I also want to mention too that if you're in the military, if you're retired military, make sure to ask as many places you can think of for military discounts. I mean, not every place does advertise military discounts, but I will say though that because we're so saturated in military, a lot of places will offer those discounts, so feel free to ask for them. And I'll also drop a bunch of links below, things about schools, things about cost of living, about just information if you have to check to see how much your industry pays over here compared to where you live, as well as a website where you can enter in your city and then also enter in this city, Virginia Beach, or the city you're moving to, and it will tell you how much money you need to make to have the similar lifestyle. And another money saving tip I'll mention also is in terms of flying. Norfolk has an international airport. However, Newport News and Richmond are 2 airports that sometimes have cheaper flights than Norfolk. So even though it might be, for Newport News it's 45 minutes, for Richmond it's between an hour and a half and 2 hours. It's a little bit longer drive for sure, and there's more logistics to work out. But there are a lot of opportunities for you to possibly save some money flying out of those airports in Richmond and Newport News as opposed to in Norfolk. And if you have any questions about this information, cost of living, how much real estate prices are, the transition, how to move here, any of that kind of stuff, my contact information is below. Email, phone call, Facebook message, whatever, and I'll be able to help you in the transition period. And I'll see you on the next video.